Hi, in this video I want to begin talking about some of the changes that we've made to our syntax editing program, our syntax highlighting editor. We covered the core of the program in last month's presentation, but I want to show you a couple of things I've added, and then in the videos to come we'll be talking about pieces that I've added to kind of polish this application as we go on. The first thing we wanted to do is to be able to edit any line, so go back and forth into the previously entered lines and be able to edit those. So I've added three controls to the surface of the application here: an up button, a down button, and a label. The label will show the current count, in other words, the current line that we're on, and then up will go to the previous line and down will go to the next line. So let's look at those controls in the H file, in the header file. You can see I've added a label here called count label. That's what it is. I've also changed edit view protected and plain text to mutable arrays. This is because we want to be able to get back into the content. So these are going to be mutable array of NS string. And then also I have a new property, current text line, and this is just an int. And C primitives we know we just set to assign rather than strong or weak. Okay, so then in the M file, we've just synthesized the new properties, the count label and the current text line. And then in init with nibname or bundle, we can see that the changes I've made here are pretty simple. The edit view protected and plain text I've allocated with an initial capacity of 5. Instead of just setting these to the empty strings, I'm setting them to empty NS mutable arrays. But they are instantiated here. And current text line is set to 0, and then I've stuffed that field, the count labels text, with the formatted string with the current text line. I need that to be an int, so I just format that int using string with format. So now the biggest changes are in edit line changed and similar. So the edit text line, the web ready text line, these are all the same. We don't have any changes really until we get down to when we're writing this protected array. So the edit view string is set to web ready text line, and then we get the count of edit view protected, because this is going to be the number of web ready text lines that were already in that array. Okay, so now we check and see if the current text line is less than the count of edit view protected. And if it is, we are inside that array and we're editing a line that was already entered. So that if that's the case, we just replace the object at the index count. Otherwise, we just append that object. We add the object. Then we check to see if the web view string is nothing. And then we go through that array and we get a string that I'm calling protected out of the array edit view protected. So I get that as an NS string. And then I populate that, I add the break character to the end of that string. Rather than doing this in edit line return, we do it as we're going. So every character we enter, we have the string, and then we add the break character at the end. If we go to another string, the break character will stay on the protected string that we're not editing. So this is the correct place to do this. And then we populate, we make the web view string that prot-ended string. And then we load all of that up as an HTML string into our edit view. Edit line return, we see we no longer have to add the protected previous lines. So this we're getting rid of. And then the edit view string must be appended. And then we add the edit lines text to the plain text string. Set the edit line text to nothing, bump the current text line, and then set the count label accordingly. Now, these two button events deal with the up button and the down button. So select previous text line just simply checks to see if we can go to the previous text line. In other words, if the current text line is greater than 0. Of course, if it's 0, we can't go to the previous text line because we'll be indexing into a negative array index, which that's obviously wrong. So we set the edit line's text to the decremented current text line objective index in the plain text array, and then we set the count label to the correct value. And then select next, we do some similar checks. We see if the current text line is less than the plain text count minus 1, and if it is, we set the edit line's text to the objective index bumped current text line, and then set the label accordingly. So what this will do is it will move us up and down and then make the edit line text field carry the text, the unedited text of the current line. So then save button and load button touched are the same. In the new button touched, we need to handle the current text line and the count label, so we do that. Then in save view controller did get file name. These are the delegate methods coming back from those two other controllers. Rather than saving these as string files, we save these asplists. So that's the changes here. We write out the plain text array and handle it when it's loaded, but we also write out this path as a plist. So we write those out, and then we get the saved file names. We write that array out as a plist, and we're doing pretty much the same thing. In the load, we write out, or we read in the edit view protected, which is a plist now, and we read in the plain text file name. We do that, and then we set our WebView string to nil, and then throughout the protected strings in edit view protected, we go and populate that WebView string by appending the string protected, and then load that as an HTML string. And that's it. So let's go ahead and run it and see the difference. So now we'll start editing. Let's have an integer a equals 9, and then we can see that we're now on line 1. This is this line. We'll be currently editing this because this is zero-based arrays are zero-based. So let's have an integer b equals 17. So we're now on line 2, and we're down here. So if we enter a new line, we're going to be entering it after the b line. So now let's go back up to the a line and say, I didn't want that to be 9. I wanted that to be 19. So now we're on line 1. We'll go down to line 2, and we'll edit to read printf and we'll just print out the sum a plus b. Okay, and then enter, and we've got it. So there's 3, and then okay. Thank you very much.